Understanding God makes water into a priceless pearl for you personally, so stand up to be what God had meant for you. A living and functioning God for 10 trillion cells and 100 trillion bacteria. Just like a cell in our body or a single piece of grain or seed which creates a whole new life itself and more. Regardless of size, a human individual lives in a living galaxy of their own. No one has ever known, does, and no one will know about everything of everything until we hit our full potential, so ask yourself, are you there? Remember, we are an unfinished building and are in the process of being completed. Just look at our bodies. If you lift weights, you grow bigger muscles. You go to school to learn, and interestingly, the more you learn, more you can learn without changing head size. Our brain evolves to adapt, so there is no limitation. Even our potential has the potential to evolve. With an evolving potential, if one says we know everything, there is to know it simply is an egotistic assumption. Sure, we learn from the books, but never forget we write books as well, and they all come from the evolving brains of the evolving human beings. Unfortunately, we kill and rob each other of our potential in the name of politics of our belonging groups. The only way we can come out of our group politics is if as an individual we are able to see, understand, and are able to eradicate our installed prejudice and discrimination. As grown-ups, instead of fighting against it, we are inclined to install all this into our coming generations just to make sure God is always suffering from a permanent disorder of pain in return of all the good we receive. You can look at life with perfect and mathematically correct numbers and scientific truths or religious moral truths. At the end of the day, individually, you will have to create balance for yourself, otherwise you can end up with a net loss by following the extremists. Your real truth is your personal mortality and free will, so if you end up choosing a cause and hurting someone innocent, you simply can't live in peace within your skin because you are the one who is judging yourself. You may not be big and strong in the grand scheme of life, but just look at yourself as a being. You are a responsible living God for trillions and trillions of creatures living within you. To create balance in the total chaos, you are still an authorized CEO. How you think and feel can be destructive for you and all the life you carry within. If you learn to take your responsibilities, you can take care of what you actually are from within. You can take care of the things externally as well. Desire to learn more is ingrained in all of us from before birth, so living in a confined environment is not for human beings. All our boundaries are there to slow down our progress to meet our evolutionary rhythm. If we go too fast, we have the potential to lose not only collective happiness and contentment, we as individuals suffer as well in a mortal life, which is a bigger loss than we have been told by our belonging groups. If you really think everything is happening in your life is because of you or the people around, you have to think again. It's not true, because those two of you talking whether the body exists or not should know arms or legs can't function on their own. All systems have to work to provide life-giving substances to all cells. It is not one or the other, it's the functioning of the body altogether. These days we know a lot about the body, yet we don't know everything about it. Our knowledge is still in the progress, so it's not complete. With incomplete knowledge, we make a whole lot of assumptions. Sometime we gain from those assumptions and sometime we screw things up. It should be clear by now that all cells in the body depend on the proper functioning of the body, so regardless of what we are taught or feel, the fact is we just can't claim that we are functioning because of the groups we belong to. Your belonging groups can't even change your mortal nature, meaning they can't save you from death and disease. They can't control natural disasters, can't provide you oxygen, not even for themselves, so believing everything is done by the people is simply an assumption. Since we are taught and personally feel that we are doing everything, we need to know how much of an influence we have in the grand scheme of life. I am a big proponent of free will and personal responsibilities, so understanding is and should be the balance, not one extreme or the other. Simply we are to blame for our actions, but believing that there are no accidents or placebo effects is extreme. Always remember, as a human individual, our lives are our personal project. It does matter how we think, because our stress, which creates a host of actual, including physical illnesses. It's known that stress is closely connected to our ways of thinking. That means we have the potential to not only rob ourselves of health but happiness as well. One of my triangles is health, happiness, and success. In simple words, if you don't have health, you can't be happy, and a mortal life without health and happiness can't be successful, regardless of what your belonging group says. If they tell you that you will be happy in the life after death, I would doubt that, if you can't be or have not learned to be happy with free oxygen and with a healthy functioning body in your living years when it really matters. God would have a hard time making you happy in life after your death because you would not have physical control after all. Spiritual happiness and all kind of pleasures are felt by the physical body exclusively. It just is as simple as it can get. All the pleasures need a physical body to be enjoyed. You can't enjoy food, and yes, even if it is milk and honey, if you don't have a physical body. Would God give us physical bodies after we have died? That is questionable scientifically, but believing is a whole different ballgame. Should one bet on it or put all the eggs in that basket? Well, it's a personal choice. To me, it would be extreme to sacrifice these living years without happiness just to please your belonging groups by following their rules. Back to stress. If we can't be happy, we simply are unhealthy. Being unhappy and unhealthy, life in living years can be measurable, so it does matter for a CEO to keep eye on their extreme behaviors. Our out-of-control sense of belonging is not only related to our belief systems, it can be in our race, gender and nationalism as well. Being mortal with a free will, you are a CEO, and being a CEO, it is your responsibility to live a mortal life accordingly. If you have to change your ways of thinking, do so while you have time. If you're taught knowledge is robbing your happiness and contentment, you just can't blame God or the people around because you have been blessed with the free will. God can easily say that I equipped you with a free will for a reason. You are a lot more responsible than your group says, so take charge and go through some stress of emotions to benefit from it. If you don't stand up to take charge, your mortal nature says time is slipping away, so get with it. A goal for a mortal should be accumulation of happiness and contentment, and if you sacrifice those over pleasing your handlers, you are nothing more than a warrior ant or a worker bee. Remember, human individuals are a lot more genetically sophisticated than ants and bees, and it's all because of free will. Don't demote yourself from what you are. A CEO's life can be complicated, but you have the ability to handle it yourself. Chief executive officers of their lives will have to have the responsibility to understand this message as well. If you get me wrong, you will think I am preaching selfishness, but I am far from it. The real message, or what I am trying to convey to you, is that you have to create balance in your personal life. Especially if you are living in an oppressive society, you have to survive first, so regardless of what I say, you have to be living physically first to carry on with your thought process. A CEO should know how to run a successful company, and usually a company has several different departments, and the company what I am talking about is your individual life. Regardless of what kind of organization you belong to, in a mortal being's life project, personal happiness and contentment cannot be ignored. If you feel I am preaching selfishness, read my posts with open mind, especially Your Body and Brain, where I explained deep personal happiness comes to a human individual from serving, including yourself. Knowing to self-serve as a department will take care of itself. Don't treat others or self differently. Being subservient to others or even self is an extreme, and following that extreme is a demotion from a CEO to a head of the department. In today's modern world, a CEO even has a responsibility to look at the scientific facts and changing world to reinvent faith in spirituality. Again, it's a personal and individual responsibility of the CEO. Even science is all about the statements of repeatable facts, but a mortal being has to understand personal mortality and emotional satisfaction of being temporary before jumping into the facts and numbers-based living. Numbers and facts don't mean anything to a passing being because it's all about how much happiness and contentment. I claim it's not religious, but its spiritual satisfaction is required regardless of you being a believer or non-believer. If either extreme is robbing you of your happiness and contentment, you have to take charge of your life. Remember, you have several different departments. If you choose one, you are gone out of spiritual rhythm, and personally, you just can't afford to lose that immortal life. I let the religious fanatics and scientists argue about the extreme, but I believe it's all about the ego, and ego is a product of political sense of belonging to respected groups. You just can't make others have fun on your expense, so joining the groups and following everything preached to you blindly does not fit in for a CEO. So regardless of how you think or feel about immortal life is plain and simple influenced by the politics. It is not fact-based because your real fact is your mortality and being mortal. It is your utmost responsibility to create balance to avoid extreme and related spiritual crimes. Reciprocate and be happy and content. If your religion or science provides you that spiritual satisfaction, follow and do so, but don't put each other down with your incomplete knowledge. It is not only egotistic, it is prejudicial, discriminatory, and based on ignorance. Claiming our knowledge is complete is clearly not a fact, especially if you keep learning something new every day. Now just look around and see, where do you stand in that crowd of people? Ask yourself, are we discovering new things or proving old theories false? If that is happening, then you have to dig into yourself and see why and what is making you to make your claim that you know everything, scientific, religious, or otherwise. Human history is full of examples of killing people over believing or even thinking differently. We put a lot of emotional efforts in our arguments to prove others wrong just because we want our ancestors can be proven right. From religions to other ways of governing have been fighting each other's and violating human rights in the name of ever-changing complete knowledge. From one holy book to another, to sects of religions, to perpetual and constant killing of each other, yet for thousands of years. Spirituality is universal and consistent throughout the world's history and even in today's modern era. It has been and is screaming loudly as a fact, but we have been and are still gong-ho in our politics of sense of belonging to our groups. Our politics of our sense of belonging to our groups gives birth to our egotistic behaviors. So damn right, it is your personal responsibility of the individual to strain out politics so one can see and realize the benefits of spirituality. Let us look at our association with our cats and dogs. We have better relationships with our pets, and it is all because of our expectations. Whether it's at an individual, communal, national, or religious level, our dead dog cause of the problem has been and is related to the politics of our sense of belonging. Persona, pride, ego, and honor, they all are connected to our sense of belonging. Now don't get me wrong, as you maybe are aware of from my writing, that I am all for balance. A CEO should work against the causes of extreme, so I am going to explain how I look at or dig into the reasons for our problems. I may appear to be against the sense of belonging, but I am against the politics of sense of belonging to a group of people because it gives birth to our persona, pride, ego, and honor, and in return they promote prejudice and discrimination. Not it's wrong to have installed knowledge, but what we do for the installed knowledge is wrong. For instance, if we become prejudiced and discriminatory as an individual, we are using our politics of sense of belonging to our groups and fueling the fire to already hostile environment. By not questioning it, we are going to spread prejudice and discrimination, which would bring counter effects. That means it is false and wrong to start with, because we could never get rid of our dead dog of the real problems. As human beings, we are growing rapidly, not only in numbers but scientifically and technologically as well, so our Earth is actually becoming smaller to us, so the importance of understanding human relationships is becoming extremely important. I am all about balance and giving a chance to evolutionary processes to be understood, but I have no doubt in my standing against prejudice and discrimination. I am very aware of my passion for the prejudiced and discriminatory behaviors of a human individual. When I started to dig into reasons, all roads lead to one problem, and that was politics of our sense of belonging to our belonging groups. If you start to dig into it yourself, you will end up in the same place where I ended up. So today I will look at our politics and our relationships. From individual quarrels to all the way to our thousands of years old religious disputes, it has always been and still is the human individual whose emotions fuel that fire, regardless of where it is coming from. If it is coming from our politics of sense of belonging, so it would be the individual who can diffuse it by evolving and understanding personal reasons of persona, pride, ego, and honor. To me, if we have a problem which affects the individual, we should start with the individual to remedy it. Let's see if two people are arguing about a dispute and blaming each other, or even promising to each other it is fine and dandy if we all have total control over our life circumstances, including death and disease. We all talk to each other as if we are totally in charge of our lives. Our troubles are based on the notion of the knowledge we have been installed with. If we take everything at face value, we just are unable to read in between the lines. Say you are told that you have a free will, but your politics of sense of belonging is way too powerful for you and you just can't stand against, so you have to follow those political rules instead of using your free will. If your decisions are made up for you and you do have a free will, so what is going on inside you? Are you living with or are you playing with the full deck of cards you have been provided by nature? Meaning, are you using your free will to pursue your potential? Or you live for your belonging group, believing everything your group says goes and it is always a spiritual truth? Personally, I believe being brainwashed or following rules blindly can get us in trouble, so one has to make decisions according to the time and its demands. On the lighter side, this joke was sent to me from Pakistan. In Punjabi it calls, "Call the civilian." I am going to try to translate it because it fits here. I quote, "During the training, an officer falls into a well. Soldiers scramble and eventually throw a rope to him and pull him up, but as soon as they see him they salute and let the rope go. When it happens a couple of times they say we should call the senior officer. The general happened to be there for inspection, so he showed up to help. When the major was pulled up, Major saw the higher-ranking officer. He salutes and falls back into the well, then everyone started to yell, 'Call the civilian.'" On the serious side, Ramadan is a fasting time for all Muslims. You eat before sunrise and eat again after the sun sets. Now, if you follow the rules without the ability of questioning or amending accordingly, it can sometimes cause problems. In up north, fasting would be impossible according to the sun because in summer there is no regular day or night, and in winter mostly it's night, so taking fasting or prayers times according to the sun are literally impossible, so not amending the rules would be a disastrous. Fasting and prayers are not just to be hungry or being obedient, it is all about taming the animal side or desires to become a good human being, so it can be done anywhere in the world, but when in up north certain amendments would have to be made. Fasting is not only exclusive to Muslims, it has been a part of most religions, so I am not joking about intentions of fasting, but rules of humanity and especially evolving humanity are meant to be broken and amended according to the need of time. Logically believing in religions and constitutions as the zone not to mess with means not believing in evolutionary nature and even God. If rules were from God, we would be like ants and bees. Now just look at ourselves where we are today in civilization. We fly where winged creatures can't fly, yet nature equipped them with tools. We swim deep into the ocean without gulls, we dig deep into the stone mountains without claws, and interesting, we can see what a naked eye can't see. So to me, undermining our makeup is against God's will. We would not be able to do all that if it was not God's will. Our politics says God is good and devil is bad. It's nothing more than a political perception. Blaming them or glorify them is absolutely absurd because each and every one of us comes equipped with free will and personal sense of justice, so not taking personal responsibility for your actions is completely political and cunning. Blaming an invisible entity for your physical actions is hiding from personal responsibilities. Remember, it is human who adds their physical hands, backs, and shoulders to good and bad to make it happen. If you start to analyze and dissect free will and its meanings, you will fall into the zone where God and devil would lose their importance, and as human beings, our responsibilities would go through the roof. Depending on where you stand and how big and tall you are from the inside, you will figure out the causes of your inferiority complexes. My theory of $5 explains it simply and clearly. Read $5. If one starts to look at their abilities instead of disabilities, they can enhance the experiences of life into their mortal life because they can live larger than otherwise. Our existence can resemble ants and bees if we take out or not to look at our free will as an ability. A free will with an able body, brain, and free oxygen is needed to make things happen. Life does not have to be perfect as an individual, We don't have to have all the mysteries solved in our mortal life. We don't have to completely and figuratively know everything to live a decent life. We don't have that kind of time to run our affairs perfectly. If you happen to be one of them who feels that way, try to keep mortal nature in front of you at all time. It will ground you or at least make you sober from the alcohol you have been served. Sure, I believe in exploring and discovering. For instance, I believe in God of order and harmony, not in destruction and punishment. Regardless of our actions in nature, we still are not animals you train with carrot and stick. I believe in our abilities to self-regulate with knowledge of free will and personal responsibility. Does it make me out of my Muslim religion? Maybe, according to the people who don't believe in evolution and amendments or going according to the time and need. I believe no one has to change their belief systems by force or with a carrot and stick philosophy. I believe in God with my personal standing as giving my back and shoulders to reciprocate in return of all the blessings and abilities to even think and write. We always look up into space as if God is somewhere out there, not within us. Sure, space has to run with an order to keep us alive. It's so vast and chaotic that it is a chance that we all are alive. Never mind the external space, just look within you. Have 10 trillion cells of your own and you function with the help of 100 trillion other living creatures all encased within you. It is a miracle that we individually function, yet we have a big ego to claim that it is all happening because I am making it happen, especially when it comes to putting each other down and claim that our knowledge is better and complete. If you are the one who believes in scientific living and think life is just a chance and survival of the fittest, you need to look at the sophistication and the order in your chaotic living and see if you are right. Not believing is one thing and not benefiting from a belief system in a mortal life is a choice, so I am not going to push anyone to believe the way I do. I believe it's our own journey, how we go through it. It is personal, so again, no one has to change their belief systems, but just being a decent human being is a must for us all, not only for others but for self as well, because you have to live within your physical skin. Being unhappy and discontent is a sign of unfulfilled life, so keep eye on the causes of these problems. To me, life is as complex as it can get, yet we attempt to simplify by blaming devil and praising God. What does it do to the ordinary individual? It robs their self-esteem because they are told you mean nothing and not good for anything. God and devil are doing everything so you don't have to take personal responsibilities. Lack of self-esteem of the ordinary individual benefits only the elite class or controlling authorities, so they would use politics of sense of belonging to shame or shun questioning individuals. We have been told life is as simple as 1, 2, 3. Belief in God, not to take responsibility, to think and question, or on the other extreme, not to believe and take all the responsibilities. My question is, what is the outcome of these systems? You still have to believe in facts like mortality. As a scientist or religious fanatic, you simply can't shake this fact of life because we all are in it. We all have everything same except the thinking. Father Time and mortality spare no one, so we have to take charge of our individual lives individually. Not only because we can with our free will, but to understand how to live a mortal life comfortably. If a religious belief can help you live comfortably in your skin regardless of its mortal nature, do believe it. If you want to live scientifically correct, it's your prerogative, but don't put each other down or go to wars and kill each other over your disputing points of views. If you believe your race, gender, nation or religion should run the whole world, logically you are thinking an arm or leg should run the whole body. The body has its parts and it doesn't function by certain cells. Cells have their certain purpose and function, but they all depend not only on each other but they depend on your you part, which I call it organizing or harmonizing God. So in the nutshell, cells are not running the whole show, but they are helpful for the body to function. Egotistically, we can claim what we want, but without oxygenated and life-giving nutrient-rich blood reaching to every single cell, we can't function. Regardless of the chaotic environment, this organizing entity from within and externally needs to be looked at with justice from all of us. Every cell has its place in the body, or metaphorically speaking in the world.